a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Jessica Jones, Season 1. The first season of the American web television series Jessica Jones, which is based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, follows a former superhero who opens her own detective agency after an end to her superhero career at the hands of Kilgrave. It is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sharing continuity with the films and other television series of the franchise. The season was produced by Marvel Television in association with ABC Studios and Tall Girls Productions, with Melissa Rosenberg serving as showrunner. Krysten Ritter stars as Jones, while David Tennant plays Kilgrave. The two are joined by principal cast members Mike Colter, Rachael Taylor, Wil Traval, Erin Moriarty, Eka Darville, and Carrie-Anne Moss. Jessica Jones entered development in late 2013, with Rosenberg reworking a series she had previously developed for ABC. Ritter was cast as Jones in December 2014, and production took place in New York City from February to August 2015. The season addresses issues of rape and assault, and was always intended to be far more adult than other Marvel projects, particularly in terms of sex. The show's cinematography took inspiration from noir, while visual effects house shade VFX focused on creating invisible effects that would support its realistic approach. The first two episodes of the season premiered in New York City on November 17, 2015. With the full season of 13 episodes released on Netflix on November 20 to an estimated high viewership and critical acclaim. Critics praised the performances of Ritter and Tennant, as well as the season's noir tone, approach to sexuality, and coverage of darker topics such as rape, assault and post-traumatic stress disorder. The season was awarded a Peabody Award in the category of Entertainment and Children's Programs, and a Hugo Award for short-form dramas. A second season of Jessica Jones was ordered on January 17, 2016. Development. In October 2013, Marvel and Disney announced that Marvel Television and ABC Studios would provide Netflix with live-action series centered around Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage, leading up to a mini-series based on The Defenders. Melissa Rosenberg was brought on to showrun the Jessica Jones series, to be reconfigured as a page one do-over from an original project she had developed in December 2010 for ABC. In December 2014, the official title was revealed to be Marvel's aka Jessica Jones, but that was shortened to Marvel's Jessica Jones in June 2015. The season consists of 13-hour-long episodes. Writing. The writers for the season worked in Los Angeles, with one member of the writing team on set in New York for filming. Actress Carrie-Anne Moss talked about how the scripts developed through the production of the season, explaining that the dialogue usually did not change much while filming, but scenes were altered to accommodate the filming locations when necessary. Rosenberg stated that, since Jones is a private investigator, there would be some procedural elements to the show. But that's not our focus. There are cases. In particular, there is a large case that carries over the season. Elaborating on this, Marvel Television head Jeff Loeb said that the fun about being a private detective is that the line between what's legal and what's not legal gets very blurred. Our drive is not always necessarily to solve the case, as much as it is to go, okay, can I pay the rent? How am I going to get through this day? He also added that inspiration for the season came from the noir films from the 40s and film-esque, like Chinatown. Describing the tone of the season, Loeb said, "When we first started talking about Daredevil, we promised that we were telling a story that was first a crime drama and then a superhero show. This is more of a psychological thriller. This speaks to when you think about what happened to Jessica and what sort of destroyed her life and how she tried to put it together, and then to have to confront the person who deconstructed her world. That's a very powerful, emotional place to start from." On approaching rape and trauma in the season, Rosenberg wanted to avoid actually showing rape, which she called lazy storytelling, and often a way to spice up male characters, and preferred to just make the trauma a part of the characters' everyday lives rather than an issue for the season to tackle. When asked about the adult nature of the season, including the use of sex, Rosenberg explained that Marvel would only not allow showing nudity and the use of the word fuck in the season. Regarding all of the social issues the season covered, such as issues of choice, interracial relationships, domestic violence, and issues of consent, while also exploring feminism and being a woman in this world, Rosenberg said, "It was never our intention going in to hit a social issue, and I think the minute you intend to do that, you're stepping up on a soapbox. If you're digging into the dark side of the human psyche and all the different experiences we go through, and as women we go through, you're going to find those things. If you treat them honestly and with respect, you're also going to hit social issues." Design. Stephanie Mislansky returned as the costume designer for Jessica Jones from Daredevil, and was assisted on the first episode by Jen Rodgien, who crafted Jessica Jones's leather jacket, faded jeans, and boots costume. On Jonas' costume, Mislansky said she considers her clothing to be an armor and a shield and something that helps her maintain a distance from other people and privacy. It keeps her from having to deal with the rest of humanity in a certain sort of way. At least 10 versions of Jonas' jacket were made, which started as an Acme Studios leather motorcycle jacket that had any bells and whistles and any additional superfluous design details removed. 20 pairs of jeans were used, with both sets of clothing being aged and distressed. Because Jonas' costume does not evolve much throughout the season, Mislansky used flashbacks to show how her costume had evolved to the present day. For pre-Kilgrave Jessica Jones, Mislansky gave the character more pulled-together clothes, albeit still kind of edgy. Clothes that did not change who she was as a character, but were just different. For instance, in a flashback to Jones working in a corporate environment, she does not wear a suit. Instead, wears her jeans and finds a really cool jacket. Maybe a vintage thing, maybe something that she borrowed from Trish. For a flashback where Jones wears a large sandwich costume, a variety of costumes were ordered online, with the chosen suit then distressed to look dirty and old, a mere shadow of its former sandwich self, becoming more of a hoagie than a sandwich. In another flashback, Jones imagines escaping Kilgrave's control. The bright yellow dress the character wears in the dream sequence was chosen for its juxtaposition to the character's real situation, with Mislansky calling it so beautiful and so free and so light. For Kilgrave, Mislansky used many suits created by designer Paul Smith, rather than custom making them as she originally planned, as Smith was about purple in the previous fashion season. On the suits, Mislansky added that the designers wanted to find a place where we could utilize clothing in shades of purple, but not go so over the top that it would look silly and that he would stop feeling ominous or menacing. Expanding on this, Mislansky called purple a traditionally fairly friendly color, and he's anything but friendly. So I had to find ways to make him be ominous and frightening and terrifying. I found that I needed the right proportion of shades of purple to other shades that were similar: navy, black, maroon. Mislansky felt Luke Cage was also someone who wears his clothing like an armor, with his wardrobe consisting of t-shirts, jeans, leather jackets or an army jacket. For a character like Trish Walker, who does not have the same kind of statement costume as Jones, Mislansky tried to create a certain character style. Mislansky said that Walker's uniform is fashion, so even when she was hanging around the house, she was wearing a pair of rag and bone jeans with a Chloe top, and this was her version of a t-shirt and jeans. Mislansky added that Robin was a blast to dress because of her quirky personality, yet she was still able to put herself together aesthetically. For Malcolm, as his story progressively became brighter throughout the season, so did his wardrobe, becoming a little brighter and a little more hopeful. Filming. In February 2014, Marvel announced that Jessica Jones would be filmed in New York City. In April, Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Joe Quesada stated that the show would be filming in areas of Brooklyn and Long Island City that still look like the old Hell's Kitchen. In addition to soundstage work, the season went into production in February 2015 in the Bronx at Lehman College with the working title Violet, and aimed to film each episode over 9 days, on average. Filming concluded in mid-late August. Other filming locations in New York City used included the East Village's Horseshoe Bar for Luke's Bar, the 33rd Street Path Station, and a Path train, the 101st Street area for the exterior of Jessica's apartment, Douglaston, Queens for Jessica's childhood home, the Angel Lawrence Sands Center for Jessica and Luke's Fight Inn, aka Take a Bloody Number, Williamsburg Savings Bank Tower and Pier 88 for locations in, aka Smile, the Meatpacking District, Nolita, near the 39th Street entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel, Tribeca, Bryant Park, Union Square, Gramercy, Greenpoint, Brooklyn near the Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant, Long Island City, including the Allied Extruder Factory, for the weed-growing facility, with exteriors shots taken from near Calvary Cemetery, the Queensboro Bridge on the Queens side, the Manhattan Bridge, the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Bethesda Terrace and Fountain in Central Park, and Industry City. Concerning inspirations on the season, Loeb revealed that Chinatown is one of the things that influenced Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gaydos when they created the character. So those kind of beautiful, long, wide expansive shots, where people sort of come into frame and go back out of frame and someone's in the foreground and then someone is way in the background and they're having a conversation. That's the stuff that makes it interesting. Director of photography Manuel Belita and episodic director S.J. Clarkson took inspiration from the comics in terms of their color palette, while looking to the works of Wong Kar-wai as reference to create unconventional compositions, with Belita explaining, there were a lot of foreground elements, and headroom as well, and we never wanted to show an open frame. We wanted to create a sense of claustrophobia. Belita shot the season with a Red Epic Dragon camera in 4K resolution, with 5K used for some visual effects shots, and with Panavision vintage lenses. He focused mostly on static frames and good composition, but did occasionally employ a camera dolly or Steadicam. For lighting, Belita noted that many New York street lamps had been changed from sodium vapor lamps to LEDs, so he tried to recreate the warm, dirty color of sodium vapor for night exterior scenes. Production designer Loren Weeks described Marvel's Hell's Kitchen as having a little more East Village quality to achieve the explosion. At Luke's Bar, Weeks said, we could not take out the windows at Horseshoe Bar, which are made up of multiple small colored glass and metal frames. We didn't know frankly when we picked that location that we would have that explosion. What we did was build a fireproof box in the entrance and we had a cannon in there which blew out debris and smoke and some fire, and then we did a lighting effect on the inside and then the rest of the explosion was handled by visual effects. For the scenes on the Path train and station, location manager Jason Farrar noted that production had exclusive use of the tracks and platform during the day when ridership was low, to get their shots. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?